Welcome everybody to another exciting episode. We have with us a very, very special guest. He was kind enough to let me come on his show. He is one of the biggest Hex YouTube channels with 25,000. I think there are a few that are bigger, but they didn't start off. They kind of built their base not being in Hex. You really were exclusive to Hex.
Oh, that's right.
My bad.
You okay?
Yeah, I got some feedback. Sorry about that. And he's built up a great audience. He's been spreading the message very effectively and very well. Very clear and concise slides and presentations, and excellent live streams, excellent information. Very level-headed in these turbulent times, which is probably the most important thing. So thank you so much for coming on Crypto Coffee.
My pleasure, man. Always good to see new streamers out there. I mean, you're not necessarily new, but up and coming, I would say. And the more the merrier, right? Like you are the network. So everybody has their own little part to play. Whatever message you have out there, go out there and do your best. If you want to defend your bags in the bear market, I think that's one of the best things you can do, to have the balls to defend your bags when everybody else is calling crypto a scam. You stand behind what you believe in and you get the word out there, and you're going to be rewarded during the next bull market. It's that simple.
Yes.
We're all betting on what's going to come back the hardest. And obviously where my bets are. They're primarily on Hex and Pulsechain and the Richard Hart ecosystem. I love all those coins. I'm not going to say those are the only coins. Obviously everything pumps in a bull market, but it's about what pumps harder, right? Just like Hex in the last one. Went up 10,000x, went down 95%, but people forget that it went up 10,000x, right? A lot of coins, they went up 100x, and they went also down 90%. So, I mean, technically, even if you bought the absolute bottom of those, you're not as well off as if you were early in Hex. And by early, I mean anytime in the first year and a half, not necessarily early. There was a whole span of a year and a half where you could have bought Hex and still been in profit today. So, and we're at the prices that we were at about a year and a half ago. Prices that date back to last year, November, September-ish. Sorry, earlier than that, much earlier. I'm going to correct myself on that, but you're getting a chance to do it all over again. So if you're complaining that you were too late on the way up, some people are going to complain no matter what. Oh, they're always too late, or they're not. It's always something with people. Some people just don't want to be happy. Some people just don't want to see the long-term vision. And you can't save those people, right? I'm too late. Okay, well, we're back at 2 cents. Are you too late now? Oh, well, now the OGs are dumping. And the OGs. People just make these boogeymen in their heads because there's always going to be people selling. I can point to any coin on any chart, say, oh, look at that big red candle. Look at those OGs dumping on your heads, right? This is a free open market. People are free to buy and sell. And there's this butthurt soy boy mentality where people think that they're too late, so they're just going to start their own little shit coin, and then that's going to pump to the moon. But these people have no experience in business, no track record of being successful at anything as far as I know. And, they think you can just copy paste an ERC20, which you can, but you can't copy and paste a community. And, you can't go out there with an antagonistic, vitriol and hate in your heart and expect to attract a large audience when really you're just screaming to a pocket of salty losers. And I see a lot of people doing this at the bottom of a bear. They think, oh, well, screw Hex, because maybe you didn't make the life-changing gains in Hex the first pump, the first cycle. There's going to be another cycle. It's going to be fine. But some people's answer to, oh, I didn't make it the first time because I was a little too late. It's I'm going to start a new coin. It's like, good luck with that, buddy. I haven't seen any revolutionary ideas under the sun. The ideas that I have seen that I like are basically copies of existing ideas that work. So, I like other stuff, but I see a lot of shit coinery out there, a lot of grifting, and a lot of negative sentiment, which tells me we're almost at the bottom. But it also tells me that there's two types of people. There's two types of ways you can look at this. You can either look at it as an opportunity, or you can be a sad hater loser and probably be that way your whole life. They say your first bull market is to learn and your second one is to capitalize on. So I think that's actually true. If you didn't make it, or if you didn't cash out as much as you wish you did in the first bull market, that's okay. Nobody did, including me, right? We're here to do it all over again because we know crypto's cyclical. And the answer is not to just get on the internet and start shit posting, because you get what you put out into the world. If you put out negativity, it's going to come right back at you. And it's no way to live your life. I know it's really hard. I know it's tough. I hate seeing my portfolio down 90%, but it's a game of attrition, right? Crypto is a game of last man standing. So patience will be rewarded. It always is. Money always flows from the hands of the impatient to the hands of the patient. And this is about as bad as it gets, right? This is peak FUD. Everyone's screaming about Hex is dead. All you have to ask yourself is, do you believe it's going to be around? Do you believe it's going to outperform most other coins? I do. And if you don't believe that, that's fine. We don't need you here anyway. But if you do, and you're on the team fighting the good fight, I'm really happy to be on this ride with all you guys. And I think it's going to change a lot of lives, which it already has. And I think it's poised to do it all over again.
Yeah, beautifully said. I guess from there we could go. You touched on the shiny new object syndrome that people are experiencing now. And people think that this is something that is new. They think that they have the opportunity to get in on a project when it was new. They think Hex already did a 10,000x, even though it's down 96% right now from that. They think that, oh yeah, the opportunities in these new projects, that's where they're going to get their 10,000x. Tell us, and I know this is not the first one, like these ones that we're seeing now, this is not the first time. Tell us about the shiny object syndrome that has been happening throughout the duration of Hex. People that really have came to the Hex community trying to pitch their new object, making it like this is the new Hex, this is the new opportunity. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, I've seen it over and over again from not day one of Hex, but from the first month or two of Hex. People have been trying to say Hex was dead. The amount of times I've heard Hex is dead, I can't even count, right? People capitulate. Even in a bull market, I saw people capitulate. People just can't handle their emotions. They capitulate during a 40, 50% dip in a bull market. Mm-hmm. Those types of people are everywhere. That's probably most people, especially in crypto. They come here to get rich quick. They have no idea how to delay gratification and be patient and manage their own emotions, because that's what patience is. It's you have to manage your own thought patterns. These people come and go all the time. We've seen it since day one. I've seen many, many coins come and go, claiming they're going to be the next Hex or better than Hex, or Hex is corrupt and it's going nowhere. Richard Hart's going to fail, and doom and gloom. They make these fan fiction narratives and they get a bunch of sad losers to join on top of it. And they get all their followers wrecked in the long run. I mean, it's good for a short-term pump. You might have 1 or 2, 3 months of green candles, maybe if you're lucky. And then it's slowly cashing out from the early guys. They don't bother reviving the narrative. There's no community that ends up surviving for a long time. And a lot of people are left holding the bag. The founders might run away. The early guys might run away with a ton of money. But a lot of people get left holding the bag when if they were just in more stable assets. I mean, even something like Ethereum, not even just talking about Hex, they would have been better off. A lot of it's just nothing new under the sun. These things pop up all the time. I've seen at least 5 wannabe Hex copies come and try to leech, users' mind share. They just leech off the attention and they try to tell you this narrative, and they get you into these dark corners of the internet, and they're like, look at all those OGs, they're evil. And they craft this narrative like, oh, they don't have your best interest at heart. They're gonna dump on your head, and then they just turn because they sell their Hex. Maybe they take a loss on their Hex because they weren't patient enough. And they think they're going to just make their own coin. And some of these people that start their own shit coins or whatever, they're going to make money, but it's going to be at the expense of probably more people than actually gain. Especially in a bear market right now, you can see the grifting is harder than it's ever been. And it's fine. It's fine. If you want to go do your own thing, that's fine. I really don't have a problem until you start shit talking our community and you start trying to literally vampire tech. That's when I get pissed off. And that's when I say, I'm not even going to acknowledge these coins anymore. Like, they're all basically, Pulse Doge was a good example because they were friendly at first and now they're being dicks. And so I don't want nothing to do with them. And it's great if you want to make some money on them, but
they bit the hand that fed them, because you really, you talked about it. You didn't shill it or whatever, but I'm saying maybe not necessarily even you in particular, but like big influencers like that helped bring it to what it is today. They're now throwing mud, as Hoskinson says, and it's disgusting.
Yeah, you're throwing stones in glass houses, right? So if you want to be respected, don't disrespect me personally, and don't disrespect the whole Hex community personally, and don't make up imaginary fan fiction narratives. Like, I hate this OG crap, right? It's these evil OGs are always just the boogeyman. It's the excuse, right? Of course, people are going to sell. People that got in early are going to sell, and that's redistribution to people that want another shot. All these big sellers get bought up. It's not going to kill Hex. The price can go low. Yes, it can go very, very low, and it's not going to be fun to sit through that. But we're going to be here through that. We're going to be here banded together. And look, as long as you're friendly, I don't have anything bad to say. But lately with some of the stuff I've seen from Pulse Bitcoin people, they're not friendly, and so I don't want anything to do with them.
Well, yeah, very true. And so a take that I had is that it's funny that they're criticizing the Richard Hart's marketing, like his outrage marketing, his brand, his optics, but at the same time they're piggybacking on the brand. They're literally stealing the Pulse name to prefix their project, and they're stealing the Bitcoin name, but whatever. But I'm saying, if the branding is so bad and the marketing is so bad, why is your very token that you're shilling using the brand and marketing and street credit and everything that Richard Hart built? It's like the irony is so rich. It's beautiful.
Yep. They're all complaining because they wanted that leg to stand on, to say, oh, see, we're going to be good for the Pulsechain ecosystem. And that always starts out like that. And they honey-dicked me too, which I'm a little salty. I'm not too happy about that.
Yeah.
And again, I would have been fine if they just played in their own sandbox, did their own marketing and everything, but they're trying to market at the expense of another community. And that's a literal vampire attack. It's literal leeching. I've seen Jack do some shady stuff like that too. It's like, it just rubs me the wrong way, right? It's like these guys they want to take shots at the big one, the Hex, the one that did a 10,000x, the literal black swan. And they think they're going to make their next one. It's like, these things don't happen often. And I don't really have faith in a lot of these guys that just got to crypto or don't have any prior business experience or any experience of being successful at all. And they're now just grifting because they're mad that maybe they lost money in Hex, and they're just crafting these demonizations of, oh, you're in the exit liquidity coin. It's like, bro, fine. You weren't meant to make the money in Hex anyway.
Yeah.
Like, whatever you want to say, like, you're going to end up losing either way. Even if you make money, it's going to be at the expense of probably a lot of your happiness and your relationships and all that.
Yeah, beautifully said. And it's funny, people like even OGs, like, they haven't experienced such a long bear market, and it really shows. This really brings out the maturity. It brings out the best of people, and it also brings out the worst of people. And we're really getting to see that. And I think it's very good that people that are not really as solid as they presented themselves are really outing themselves, or really, showing people what they're really about and who they really are. And I also think it's very healthy for the price. It's very healthy for the price that the people that are complaining about this correction, they're obviously not so long-term minded. Maybe they were sitting on a very big stack of Hex before this correction, and they're like, oh shoot, I should have sold then. And when you're in that mindset, and I've been in that mindset because I have experienced 1,500 X's, and then when the price comes back, that's when they dump. So getting this uncertainty in them, getting them to second guess all their decisions and to possibly sell now when they're up 10, 20, 100X is actually an excellent thing, because now people that are more long-term minded, that are ready to throw it down 10 years, are going to be buying up their bags, and there's going to be less sell pressure when the price comes back. So it's a very good thing, and people shouldn't be complaining. I think this is a very good thing.
Yeah. I mean, the bear market washes out the short-term minded people. Exactly what you said. So this is the transitionary phase. It's not comfortable, right? But, people show their true colors, and they show you who's in it for a quick pump or, maybe a short-term thing. And then who's in it for the long haul, who's got their staking ladder. I mean, most people that are laddered, or, people do one of two things, right? They're either laddered and they're probably a believer the whole time, or maybe they were liquid the whole time and they've already dumped. Maybe they were liquid and they bought the top, and then they sold the bottom, and they're just salty and angry little boys.
Yeah.
Or maybe, you have a choice. When you're down 90%, you can double down on your conviction, or you can just go away. And you can go away peacefully. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand these people that have so much hate in their heart that they have to go away, trying to destroy everything else along the way. A lot of people, you'll see them dump hacks and then start just being totally antagonistic. And those people are scumbags, because you could just shut the hell up and move on with your life. And you probably would be better off. You'd be more liked in the community, right? Like, you wouldn't be hated. I don't care if you sell hacks, but it's when you sell hacks and then you actively attack it is what I don't like.
Yeah. And yeah, I agree with that 100%. If you want to sell, this is a free market here. We are for the free markets. We are for people buying and selling, and people are saying, oh yeah, the OGs are just going to constantly dump on the people that are new. It's like, selling is what happens. It's called a correction. It's if you're in the right asset, that goes up over time. And I think community and tokenomics really determine that. And I think Hex has both. Corrections are opportunities for the people that are more long-term minded to start picking it up. And that's why, the corrections, as more and more long-term minded people come in, the corrections get smaller and smaller, because you have just more people that are more long-term minded. So the first cycle has the biggest pump and also the biggest correction. And that's what we're experiencing now. And I think that's a very good thing. I think I had a point.
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
You can just look at the development cycles of these coins too. It's like, if you whipped up a coin in 3 months, Hex took 2 years to create.
2 years, yeah.
There was a lot of thought that went into it. There was a lot of future modeling as well, like prediction modeling for different scenarios. They really made sure it was long-term viable. And I know 90% dips are in the game. This is part of what was in the models. I'm sure it's just par for the course, because this is what happens during cycles. People that were liquid sold. And what it tells me, this massive dip in Hex, tells me that a lot of bandwagon fans joined in during the peak euphoria of the bull. And it is a low liquidity coin relatively to other coins, right? And because of that, the price pumped really, really high, but it also dipped really, really low, because it had to wash out all those people that were just buying it because it was a ticker symbol and they didn't care what it was. And you see all these other coins popping up, and they just, whipped them together in 3 months, literally 3 months. It's like, it's okay. I mean, the code is probably sound and solid, but the long-term viability of the idea is what I'm not really sold on.
Yeah. It's often not even novel. They're just repackaging.
Yeah. I mean, Richard posted about the other Bitcoin copy. I didn't even know about that one, but yeah, copying Bitcoin on.
Yeah, that's also going to be Pulse Bitcoin, because it's going to be copied over onto Pulse.
Yeah, technically, sure. And a lot of these fair distribution things, I've seen coins like that too, where you can free claim the coin, and everybody gets their free claims in and they dump it, and nobody's really incentivized to carry on the narrative. I mean, I haven't seen any real YouTubers or influencers or people that I respect, other than maybe Jack. I respect Jack as an actual intelligent human being. Like, I respect Jack. But you don't see people popping up to come defend their shitcoin bags. You know what I mean? They just buy these shitcoins and then they hide in the corners hoping it's going to pump. And, they just troll, and they just, these 10 follower guys on Twitter just start trolling all the Hex and Pulsechain people. And and yeah, you just got to mute it. You know what I mean? Like, I am a big fan of the mute button. I recommend that to everybody. Some people will message me saying, oh, I'm really scared about, the SEC and other various FUD. I'm like, just don't pay attention to it, because you're taking in and absorbing a lot of different opinions from people that don't know anything about what they're talking about. They have no fucking idea what they're talking about. These aren't lawyers. These are probably people that may have not even had a formal education. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, they're faceless trolls on Twitter that just want to cause harm, and you are giving them attention. So you can manage where your attention goes. You have the ability to manage where your attention goes. And it's very, very important that you take responsibility for that, because we can't do that for you. If you're scrolling through Twitter all day long and you're looking for the negative stuff, you're going to find the negative stuff. And then you are going to feel like the world is ending. And you might capitulate yourself. You might shake yourself out of what could be the opportunity of a lifetime.
Yeah.
So I'm saying this because, look, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, right? But to me, it's too risky to not participate in the potential for life-changing wealth. I mean, Hex is one thing, but even crypto in general, right? It's too risky not to. This might not work out, right? There's always a chance that Hex might not work out. Oh my God, I said it, right? But knowing what I know and seeing what I see, all these people popping up, coming out to talk about this new paradigm, this new financial ecosystem that's coming out. And I like most of the Pulse Chain guys. Most of the guys that have their own projects, I like them for the most part, as long as they're not assholes, right? But all of this stuff could go to zero. A lot of my coins that I sacrificed for, they might go to zero. We're all gambling, but
Yeah.
it's too risky not to. Like, there's literally no other asset class where you can make life-changing wealth. You're not going to get it in the stock market unless you want to wait 60 years. And then in that case, you might as well just work for your whole life and retire. And that's the normal route, the play it safe route. You're not going to get it in real estate. Real estate is probably going to go down for the next 10 years. Not crash, but it's going to go slowly
unless you're rich. Like, it's a real estate game it's like you got to have tons of money to buy property.
Yeah, the thing about real estate is if you do have enough for a down payment on a 4-unit, you can make cash flow and you can make money that way. It's a lot more of an active approach.
Yeah,
right? I like the ability to just set it and forget it in crypto. But Funding Jim had a good point the other day, and there's really no such thing as passive income, right? Like, yeah, I know I have hexpassiveincome.com. I know I understand the irony, but we all do stuff. Like, the course that I created is a passive income machine for me, but it took a lot of work up front in order to get to that point where I could just let it go on its own. Same thing with Hex as well, right? Like, I feel more motivated to come out in the bottom of the bear markets because I feel the motivation to defend my bags, because I want them to be these passive income generators for me in the future. And they are right now. If I went away tomorrow, honestly, Hex would probably be fine. Like, people place way too much importance in these influencers and stuff. The code is going to live on and be just fine. But passive income isn't passive, right? You want to generate cash flow in a real estate 4-unit. You're going to have to do upkeep and maintenance on the house. You're going to have to fix the washing machine sometimes. When the dishwasher breaks down, you got to call a guy to fix it. So nothing is, everything takes your mental bandwidth in some capacity.
Yeah, beautifully said. And I did want to discuss the Hex passive income, but the point that I wanted to make was, there's a lot of people selling, but hey, guess what? Cardano's down 92% in its second cycle. And you want to criticize the outrage marketing? Does Charles Hoskinson do outrage marketing? I call Charles Hoskinson the good boy. His coin's down 92%. It's the Pulse Chain delay. Oh yeah. Does Cardano have an imminent Pulse Chain launch that's going to happen in the future that's being delayed? They don't even have a Pulse Chain launch. They're down 92%. SHIB's down. Everything's down, guys. Like, everyone's just trying to form their narrative. It's a correction. Fed's tightened. It's a 4-year cycle. We're in the bear market. Yep. People sell. People get scared. Where you see panic, I see opportunity. Me and Crypto Coffee see opportunity.
That's right.
That's really what it comes down to. Don't let people screw you out of this thing. Like, another thing people are saying, people don't want to buy Hex. They want to buy Pulse Bitcoin. They want to buy all these S coins. Otherwise, they'd be putting into Hex. That's not true. People are chasing shiny objects, and if they weren't chasing them, then they'd be sitting on the side waiting for lower prices, and then probably having to buy higher. Like, people like buying tops and selling bottoms. It has nothing to do with other people not putting their money in, like not putting in their money to chase shiny objects. It has nothing to do with outrage marketing. Hex is the rule. It's not the exception. Look at freaking crypto bubbles. It's all red. It's lit up. Like,
everything is down bad. It's true. And people get so focused on their one little lane, and then they see a green candle for like 1 week over in some other coin. They're like, oh man, I got to go chase that green candle. Idle hands are truly the devil's playground. I mean, boredom will get you annihilated in crypto. I say this over and over again, but people feeling like they have to do something is the number one, thing that gets people wrecked. It's the number one thing that wrecks people in crypto.
Yeah.
Feeling like you have to go in there and click a button and look at the prices every day and move this over here and move that over here.
Yeah,
I mean, if you would have just bought Hex in the early days, in the first year and a half, and just sat on it and staked it, you'd be up and you'd be happy right now. You know, instead of like, I don't know. Look, it's fine. I mean, I appreciate when people are able to make money in any different coin, whatever their strategy is. But the more active approach you take, you might be winning right now. You might have found some creative way to make, a couple $1,000s right now in the bear market, but it's not going to last forever, and you might get overconfident. I mean, take it from someone that I've done that, right? I've been very overconfident. You get cocky, and then you end up blowing it all on some really stupid coin, because like one thing leads to another. One shiny object leads to more. Say, oh, I made $5,000 on this one. Let me put $3,000 into these other ones, and then the other ones, like, you make maybe $4,000 on one of those, and then you disperse that to like 3 more shit coins, and then next thing you know, those 3 coins go to 0, and you end up with basically like almost as the same amount of money, if not less money, than you started with. And you just wasted your time cycling through all these different coins, cycling through all these narratives, reading all these people's opinions that don't matter, and mindlessly doom scrolling on Twitter. It's not good. It's not good. If you're scrolling through Twitter all day, at least make sure to clean it up to the point where, mute the people that aren't serving your best interests. Mute the people that just want to make you feel bad. I mean, some people are literally energy vampires, and people have full accounts with thousands and thousands of followers that are purely engagement bait, energy vampires. There's like some whale account out there. There's so many different accounts that I see just the most generic, painfully obvious engagement tweets. And it's like, a lot of you guys fall for it. And it's just like, stop, like, don't engage. My favorite one is nobody can resist a poll, right? So somebody will just do like the most basic ass poll of like, which coin do you think will pump? And it's like ADA, Hex, like, I don't know, XRP. And it's just like, you can tell it's obviously just people farming for engagement. And that's what these people do, right? They don't care about your opinion. They just know that you're going to feel the irresistibility to click on it.
Yep.
And you can't help yourself, guys.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just mute accounts like that, and my Twitter feed looks pretty dang good.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't want to keep my head in the sand where I'm ignoring new things, but when new things pop up, I take a look at them. I form my opinion. It's like, form your opinion quickly and change your mind slowly, right?
Yes.
Like, that's kind of my motto. Like, okay, well, I don't really like, I read this white paper. I think this idea is pretty crappy. It would take a really lot for me to change my mind on that. I'll keep some people, if some people want to talk about that coin, I'll keep them in my feed as long as they're not just totally unbearable. But I'm not going to flood my whole feed with, these new differing opinions, because there's a kind of a balance you have to strike. You don't want to have your head in the sand. I totally get that. You want to be open-minded, but you also don't want to let low tier noise from low quality people into your feed, because that is your attention. Your Twitter feed is like your attention.
People are battling for your attention.
They're fighting. Yeah, they'll do whatever it takes. They'll throw anybody under the bus. You know what I mean?
Yeah, beautifully said. And speaking of battling for attention, please, if you're enjoying the video, like this video, subscribe to this video, to this channel. Obviously, I'm sure you already did, but if you haven't, you better go to Crypto Coffee's YouTube channel and subscribe to that, and follow at Crypto Coffee 369 on Twitter, and buy the Hex Passive Income course if you're a beginner. I guess tell us a little bit about the course.
Yeah, sure. So if you're an absolute beginner, I made an onboarding course into Hex, but also into crypto in general. It's a 4-part course. The first part is about all of the terminology, the basics of what is a blockchain, what is Hex, what is Bitcoin, what is Ethereum. I'll start you off from an absolute beginner, from 0 to hero. And these projections, like this user made $1,000 in 6 months. That's a lowball estimate, right? Because the price can move that much in a day. But you got to do that for these kind of websites. You don't want to overpromise anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're an absolute beginner, you'll learn all about the basics of crypto, basics of intro to Bitcoin, Ethereum, blockchain, terminology, crypto slang, the value proposition of all these different coins, what roles they play. You're going to learn about security, the mindset that it takes to succeed, how to keep yourself safe, and how to set up all your accounts, your Coinbase, your MetaMask, how to do everything safely and securely. And it's got all the links of where you need to go. It's got all of the recommended you know, exchanges and stuff to go buy and sell Hex. And then I talk about the staking ladder strategy, which is how thousands of people are earning passive income today, right now.
Yeah.
It's worked out very, very well for a lot of people, especially in the last bull. And I really believe it's going to do that all over again in the next bull. So yeah, again, if you're brand new to crypto, this course is probably for you. And it's a great onboarding tool as well. The reason I like it is because it costs money, but it doesn't cost that much money. And it costs just enough money, in my opinion, so that people are serious about taking it. Like, I don't want people to not take this course. And if I offered it for free, people wouldn't even bother to look at it. So people care more about things they pay for. And if you don't have the money to be investing a little bit into yourself, into your own education, well, then you're probably not ready to invest in the first place, right? So this also kind of filters out the people that are more serious about investing versus the people that just want free stuff, or the airdrop chasers, and the short-term type of people. People that are very serious, they're probably willing to pay $150 to educate themselves. And on top of that, even if you are maybe a veteran in crypto, if you know a little bit more about it, there's an affiliate program, so you could sign up for that. Just click the affiliate link in the top top navigation bar. Set up your affiliate account, and then you can refer a friend, and you can get 40% of the profit. So you can actually earn money by onboarding new people into Hex. You could start your own channel. You can make a video like Hex Passive Income Review, and then put your affiliate link in the YouTube description. I was hoping more people would do the affiliate route than actually did, but not a lot of people have really stepped up to the plate yet. A couple of people have been decent affiliates, Discourse Syndicate and a couple of other guys, Hex Toys. But, to be honest, the affiliate program, I think, is underutilized. You could literally, and if you get more than 10 sales in a month, I upgrade you to, instead of 40% revenue share, it becomes 60%. So if you're serious,
I might have to become an affiliate.
Look, if you're serious about making money via affiliate, if maybe that's your bread and butter, maybe you have an affiliate link business. I know a lot of people have full-on affiliate businesses. That's how Andrew Tate started his Hustlers University, right? You can make money just being an affiliate for this course, and you can onboard people in the process. And especially, let's take an example where you're trying to onboard your friend, but you don't want to spend hours and hours holding their hand and walking them through it. You can just get this course. You can either gift it to them. You might want to gift it, or you might want to just tell them, hey, go buy this course. It's got everything you need. It's got all the links, all of the education, all the explanations. It's broken down in a nice, timely, from beginning to end. Everything makes sense. Everything flows, and it saves you time, and it probably saves them time. And it might be a better method of onboarding than you could do yourself.
Yeah, and what I really like about it is that when I first came into Hex, it takes hours of sifting through Richard Hart streams, Crypto Coffee streams, Matty Allen, all these things to find out, everything that you really know, including, just making some stupid mistakes and losing money, or, compromising security in order to really figure everything out. And think about, your time is worth money. And, you are taking a lot of extra time to really figure everything out when you can, pay the $150 and it's really a one-stop shop. So, please consider that. And I think another thing is that it supports Crypto Coffee. And I think he works very hard, and, time has to be monetized. I'm saying, we could be doing other things. It's important to support, your favorite Hex content creator. Yeah. And I really mean that. So, please go check that out, and check out his Patreon, become a patron, Discord, you get special access to him, and you're doing good for yourself. And I think you're doing good for us. So
everything I do, I try to make it a win-win. Yes, of course I want to make money. And for all you conspiracy theorists out there, hey, at least I don't have to sell Hex, right?
Yeah.
Every entrepreneur knows that it's good to have multiple revenue streams, right? And so, I do all this YouTube stuff for free. So I need a way to make revenue. And why not have it be a win-win? So when I earn revenue, you can earn revenue by referring somebody, or we onboard a new person into the Hex ecosystem. Yeah. It's a win-win-win. Every party has some kind of benefit. Same thing with the Patreon. It's not just supporting the channel with a small $20 a month. It's like, some people do super chats, right? And it's like, if you're going to do a $20 super chat, you might as well join the Patreon because you get way more value.
Super chats.
Yeah. Also, if you want to super chat Furu Finance, feel free to right about now. But, yeah, because he does a lot of good work for free too. It's like we don't get paid for this.
Yeah.
Contrary to what the SEC wants to believe, nobody here is getting paid for any of this stuff.
Yeah.
And obviously, we're going to prove that with the fact that there's no links of us getting paid to any of this. But we need to pay ourselves, right?
Yes.
And we need to provide value. So all the things that we have for sale, they provide value. You know, the Patreon, you get exclusive bonus content, you get one-on-one questions answered. It's not necessarily a mentorship program, but it's kind of like that. It's, you know, I'm basically just a phone call or text away for $20 a month.
Yeah.
And that's really, I think it's pretty good value, right?
I think so. Yeah.
And, you know, if you ever, and I'm not, obviously I don't give financial advice, but we can collaborate on ideas. A lot of people want to talk about their pre-bridge swapping strategy. I'm not going to pretend I have the right answers on that, but I'll work with you. You know, if you want to collab on that together, that's a pretty popular topic. I also often ask, you know, sometimes, you know, what the next video content ideas should be. So, you know, you could actually direct my channel and say, if there's something you want to see on a YouTube video, you know, you get the chance to actually tell me what you want to see, and I'll listen and I'll make the video. It's pretty cool. There's a lot of other benefits. You also get a course coupon, right? 60% off the course. So really, you could join if you wanted to hack the system. You could join the Patreon for 1 month, get the 60% off coupon, and then cancel the Patreon, and then basically get the course for half.
We're supposed to tell them that. Come on. You're ruining it for everyone.
Well, you could also self-refer yourself. You could be an affiliate and refer yourself.
Oh my gosh, he's giving me
I know. I know. I'm giving you all the secrets. You could buy the course, and then you can get 40% back for after you buy the course. Like, it's, I don't know. Just think a little bit.
Beautifully said, and it's very important to support Crypto Coffee and to support Furu Finance, because if you support us, you know, we can continue to support you. You know, we don't want to have to, you know, put on that McDonald's hat and whatever. and also, like, it's hard work. So I'm saying, like, we could be doing other things, and it's a win-win. It helps you.
You're pumping your own bags.
Yeah.
You're literally, by supporting all these content creators, you're helping make Hex go viral, and you're helping to pump your own bags. Long story short. And
you're helping your security, you're helping yourself prepare for the PulseChain launch, and you're helping yourself just educate yourself and everything. So yeah, consider becoming a member of Furu Finance. It's for the price of a cup of coffee. I have membership tiers, you know, $3, $4, $5 a month. You get a badge, you get priority in the comments, and you support me.
Oh, that's cool. Nice, man. I didn't know you had a Patreon.
No, not a Patreon. It's the YouTube members. Press join
YouTube membership.
Here. Yeah, okay. But enough with the shilling, I guess, for myself. Let's you mentioned the SEC. I wanted to bring up the SEC because the SEC is a very important thing. This is the importance of, you know, when they say knowledge is power. I mean, it sounds cliche, but it's very true. And if you don't have the knowledge, if you don't educate yourself on the Howey test and things like that, you're going to panic when you hear, oh, you know, influencers got subpoenaed, Richard Hart's going to jail, blah, blah, blah. It's like, understand, first of all, what are they looking for? They're looking for people were taking money from Richard Hart. Were people taking money from Richard Hart? No. Okay, so they're fine. Also, they want to see maybe if it's an unregistered security. In order to know that, you know, don't hear, you know, that random channel with 100,000 followers on Twitter or whatever saying, oh, yeah, they're getting investigated, and then panic and FUD everyone's bags and sell the bottom. Right. Understand whether it's an unregistered security, whether it's an illegal offering. And to do that, we're gonna educate you guys right now, in fact.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're here for. And then you could respond to the trolls. You could respond to the people in the comment section.
So knowledge really is power. And there's a couple things I want to say before Furu Finance gets into this. It's
absolutely.
Number one, you want to understand what a security actually is. That's really going to help you sleep at night, because if you know what the laws are, you can understand that no one is going against anything. We're not breaking any of the rules here. Nothing has ever broken any rules. People just want to take shots at Hex because it's a controversial coin. Richard Hart is controversial, and they want it to fail because any controversy sells. And that was part of the strategy from Richard the whole time. Controversy sells. Number two is be careful who you're placing authority in. You don't just look to a Twitter account And just because he has a lot of followers doesn't mean he has authority.
Yes.
Okay.
Sheep
A lot
to
of
the
people,
slaughterhouse. Those are the people that get the FTX, take the FTX affiliate links. Those are the people that put their money in Celsius. The people that listen to the big authorities.
People with 250,000 followers shield Celsius, shield BlockFi. They get people wrecked all the time. They're basically whores that will shill whatever people pay them to shill.
Yep.
And they also engagement farm you, and they feed off your fear. This is what I was talking about earlier. They'll post something like Hex is doomed. Everyone's getting subpoenaed and it's definitely going to fail. And it's like, well, to the unknowing newbie, yeah, that is kind of scary. And oh my God, this guy has a million followers. Oh, I'm probably not even a million. Oh my God, this guy has 50,000 followers. He must be somebody important. It's like, that's the mistake you're making, is thinking that just because somebody engagement baited 50,000 subscribers on Twitter, that he has any idea what he's talking about.
In fact, let me say it's less likely, because people that, are good at making content are probably not good at cryptocurrency, because people that are good at crypto are making tons of money in crypto. They don't feel like the need to go on YouTube and tell people this stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here. And that's why you have to support us. And that's why you have to become a patron for Crypto Coffee and get that passive income to help yourself and to help us and help promote us. So smash the like and smash the subscribe button. But it's true. The people that have 100,000, a million followers, they're probably not in the crypto business. They're in the content creation business. And they're probably the people that are going to get you wrecked. So that's a great, great point.
That's right.
I'm sorry.
I couldn't agree more. And but on top of that, we're going to tell you what's really going on, what the SEC is actually looking for, and why there's nothing to actually be worried about. So take it away.
Yeah, and that's the importance. I think more important than being intelligent is being level-headed. And I think Crypto Coffee, you are not only intelligent, you're very level-headed and the voice of reason.
Sometimes.
That's why that's why I feel the need to bring this by. Can I just fix, the shades are really getting on me? I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. So we're going to go through this very carefully. You are going to take this knowledge. You can clip this up. Feel free to share it on your Twitter feed or your TikTok and anything you want. But we're going to go through the facts. We're going to go through what's going on, what matters, what doesn't. So you guys don't have to freak out every time someone mentions the 3-letter word of the SEC. So here we go. So this is talking about Coinbase. Coinbase CEO on what a modern day Howey test for cryptocurrency may look like. So this is Brian Armstrong. This is the guy. He is like the figurehead. He is the darling of regulators. He knows what's going on. Earlier this week, he's a Silicon Valley insider as well. And smash the like and subscribe button. We got 109 watching, and that's all you, Crypto Coffee. So thank you. Earlier this week, Brian Armstrong, co-founder and CEO of crypto exchange Coinbase, shared his thoughts on crypto regulations in the U.S. Blah blah blah. Here's the Coinbase CEO's proposal for a modern version of the Howey test that could help determine whether a particular crypto asset is a commodity or security. So keep in mind that when it comes to the Howey test, it has to pass all 4 legs. So if it passes 1 leg, it's not a security. If it passes 2 legs, it's not a security. If it passes 3 legs, it's not a security. If it passes all 4, then it is a security, right? He then pointed out that all 4 of these prongs need to be satisfied for the asset to be considered a security. And if you just have a few of them, that is not enough. Important point there. Remember it, guys. So 1, was there an investment of money? If the crypto asset issuer hasn't sold the asset for money for the purpose of building a project, it is not a security. So when the adoption amplifier, you know more about it than me, was it to build Hex? Or was Hex already built?
Yes, Hex was a finished product. And I really love how he's revising this, because the previous version was an investment of money into a common pool with the expectation of profit from the work of others.
Oh, that's the fourth.
That's the original, right? But what Brian's doing here, Brian Armstrong, is he's elaborating and being more specific, because you have to be in this modern day world. And so the first leg that we're focusing on here was there an investment of money? Maybe. But the crypto asset issuer, if the crypto asset issuer hasn't sold the asset for money for the purpose of building the project, it's not a security. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, Richard put up all of his own money. He paid for the audits himself. He paid for the development work himself out of his own pocket. He was already rich before all this stuff, right? He had the money. The whole adoption amplifier was just a method of distributing the coins, because how are you going to give the coins out? You got to get the coins to the people somehow. So you have to pick some kind of method to get the coins out there. But the money is not used for building the project. And I love this. I hope this gets adopted.
And compare that to like projects like Flow and projects like I remember reading the Wall Street Journal. It's called it was like decentralized social media. They go to Andreessen Horowitz in Silicon Valley, and they say, "Hey, want money for our coins so we can build this project?" And they give them tens, of millions of dollars. They just throw money at them. So fails the first leg. Already not a security. Would you say that's fair to say?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we'll go to the second one anyway, because just to educate you guys, is the investment in a common enterprise. For a crypto asset to be a security, it must be controlled and operated by a centralized organization like a company. If a project has become sufficiently decentralized, it is not a security. So Crypto Coffee, is the investment a controlled and operated by a centralized organization like a company?
It's a rhetorical question, I know, but I think the answer is pretty obvious. People get confused about this all the time. Like, my grandma will probably still thinks there's a Bitcoin company. Like, oh, are you still working for Bitcoin? You know what I mean? It's not a lot of these cryptocurrencies do not have a company behind them. Hex is one of them. Now, there are issues with companies like Ripple, right? That's a legitimate company. Ripple might actually be a security. I don't know. Yeah. But there is no building full of people in Hex. Hex is a decentralized movement. It's just a bunch of people in their basements, sitting on their couches, tweeting about Hex. Like, it's a decentralized network. It's organic and grassroots. It's not a company at all. There's nobody to go after because there's no CEO. Yeah, Richard's the founder. He's now the CEO because there's nothing to be a CEO of. There's no organization. There's no company, right? And I understand that it looks, from the outside looking in, it might look a little more organized than it really is. But it's kind of like controlled chaos, right? Like, part of the fun of the Hex community and part of the pain of it is that it's not a company, but it behaves as kind of this amorphous entity of people all loosely related to each other because they all kind of believe in the same ideals. That's called a community. That's just a community. It's not an organization on paper. There's no LLC for Hex.
Yeah, beautifully said. And I guess let me just bring, people would say it's centralized because of the OA. Could you address that?
Yeah. So just because somebody has more coins in a certain project has no affiliation with the centralized organization that they're talking about here. It really has nothing to do with it. I mean, there's different levels of ownership in every single cryptocurrency. Is Satoshi the CEO of Bitcoin because he has 1 million Bitcoin? No. He was the first Bitcoin miner. He just stealth mined Bitcoin before everybody else because for a year, he was the only person that really knew about Bitcoin. There was maybe 10 people mining Bitcoin in the first year. And so it's like, and every single, if you go to the Ethereum top 100 list on Etherscan, and you pick any coin off that top list, and you go to the tab that says top holders, click on the top holders tab, and it will come up with all of the wallets and how centralized economically these coins are.
Yep.
But just because something is centralized economically does not mean it's an enterprise, right? Yep. An enterprise is not a company. A cryptocurrency is not a company, right?
Beautiful. And the OA cannot control whether I decide to lock up and earn yield. The OA cannot control whether I decide to pump or dump the price in any direction. I mean, there is no. It fails. Would you say it's fair to say that it fails the second leg of the Howey test?
Yep. And the second leg also has a point there called sufficiently decentralized, and that is in relation to what's called the Hinman standard. The Hinman standard was an add-on to SEC securities laws that basically was used to say that Bitcoin was sufficiently decentralized, even though it might have started off centralized. It's sufficiently decentralized as to not be a security. The Hinman standard looks like it's being baked into this proposal for the second leg of this proposed Howey test, which I like because it should be. And I think that, Hex is sufficiently decentralized as well, because you've got tens of thousands of holders all across the world.
Hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands, but probably more people have more than one wallet. I would say we're really at the tens of thousands stage right now. Still, A shit ton of
That's
people.
opportunity, guys.
Yeah, still a ton of people, for when you look at the adoption of a lot of these crypto projects, most of them never get past 10,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a lot. It's a lot of people. It might even be over 100,000 when you consider the holders. I guess I was only counting the stakers, but yeah, when you consider the holders, it's probably over 100,000. And look, I think it's sufficiently decentralized because on top of that, there's a legal opinion letter written to the SEC stating why Hex is not a security, and it's been written a long time ago. It was written before Hex launched. This is a legal opinion letter that helped get the Hex Investment Trust approved by the SEC. The Hex Investment Trust is a vehicle that the SEC has already acknowledged is legit, and by acknowledging the legitimacy of the Hex Investment Trust, they've basically acknowledged that Hex isn't a security in more or less words. So the whole thing happening right now, I mean, look, the SEC is just an organization that, not every office of the SEC talks to each other. So whichever office approved the Hex Investment Trust probably is not aware that there's this separate investigation going on. I think if they just talked to each other and communicated with each other a little bit more, they'd find out, oh, well, there's already this legal opinion letter. There's already this approved investment trust. This is kind of a non-issue. And that's exactly what the Discord Syndicate is going after as well. So they're forming their own company at Discord Syndicate to go after a formal legal opinion that Hex is not a security, just so that we don't have to do this crap anymore. Because believe it or not, this is not the first time Hex was investigated by the SEC. There was an investigation in the first couple of months back when everybody was calling Hex dead on that first dip. And they didn't find anything because there was nothing to find. So, we just don't want this to happen over and over again. And this time, the investigation affects individual people where, it's a pain in the ass to have to pay for a lawyer to tell you that they're not doing anything wrong. Having to prove your innocence is something that is, you can countersue for that. You can countersue, and I think the Discord Syndicate eventually plans on doing that as well. Whatever company they're using under the umbrella to form that legal opinion, that firm legal stance, because we have a lot of legs to stand on here.
We got 4 legs to stand on. And beautifully said. Let's move on to so it fails first and second. It's already not a security, but just for the sake of education, this is all education. Is there an expectation of profit if the primary purpose of the crypto asset is some other form of utility, voting, governance, incentivizing actions of a community, yield, possibly, then it is very unlikely to be considered a security. So this is like the one I thought maybe it passes, but what's your take on this?
Yeah, this one's a little foolish because people buy this. Yeah. People buy any crypto because they think it's going to go up.
No, I bought Uni for the governance. I want to be involved in the governance.
Right. Of course. Anyone saying that they're in the crypto for the utility is completely full of shit. You can be in it for the utility, yes, but you're also in it for the profit. Let's be honest about that. Hex is also very honest about the fact that yes, it was designed to be a store of value, and so I'm sure there's an expectation of profit, but it's not from the work of others. Right. The expectation of profit is not derived from the work, which is the next leg. So
and there is also other forms of utility, meaning the staking, right? I mean, that is another form of utility. So I think I think it probably doesn't. It probably fails this one, but this is probably maybe the closest one to passing. So maybe you're 1 for 4.
Sorry, this might be the weakest argument, but yes, one form of utility is definitely trustless yield generation. And so it replaces, a yield generating interest bearing bank account, in a trustless way. So a good lawyer would probably argue that, yes, there is a form of utility here that the crypto asset. And
let me add to this. There's already precedence from Bitcoin because people buy Bitcoin with expectations of profit. So it fails this one too. I'm saying we have to make Bitcoin a security. I'm sorry.
Right. Exactly.
You can't disaggregate like the legal.
And like you said too, they have to pass all 4. And of course, Bitcoin, why do you think people are buying Bitcoin, guys?
Yeah.
They're storing value and they're expecting profit.
Yeah, exactly. We don't care about the price, says the guy that got in and already had 1,000x. Oh, I'm just in it for the tech, says Simon Dixon.
Yeah. Kevin Pyle says, I don't expect profit. I expect the code to work the way it's written. and he hopes for profit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me too. Me too.
We're all hoping for profit. Yeah. The more you
Yeah.
expect it, the more disappointed you might be. So
Yeah.
just hope for profit.
Yeah. Well said. And we have 120 watching, which is unbelievable. You are a rock star, Crypto Coffee. Trust me, I stream every day, by the way, guys, 12 p.m. Eastern time, talking Hex, Pulsechain, PulseX. So Sunday through Friday. And I do not get 120. I get maybe 20 to 50. So
wow. And the thumbnail was just a picture of my face. So I guess
you like the thumbnail, though. It's a nice thumbnail. I like the thumbnail.
Yeah. Maybe do that every time.
Yeah. Okay. As long as you don't copyright strike me. But yeah, guys, please subscribe to Crypto Coffee's channel, furufinance, right under. I'm kidding. Subscribe, obviously, also to Crypto Coffee's channel. I'm sure you have, but just in case, and follow him at Crypto Coffee 369, and go to hexpassiveincome.com.
There you go. Thanks.
There you go. And the fourth leg, guys, are the profits to be derived primarily from the efforts of others? If the expectation of profit primarily comes from participants who are unaffiliated, keyword right there, primarily comes from participants who are unaffiliated with the issuance of the asset, then the project is sufficiently decentralized and would not be considered a security. This is very key. So that I think this is really the gray area where people are saying that Hex content creators are being investigated by the SEC because they want to see if people are taking money from Richard Hart. So Crypto Coffee, are you taking money from Richard Hart?
I am not. I have never been paid by Richard Hart. I wish I had, but at the same time, that would have been terrible because that would put everybody at risk. Look, none of the content creators I've ever talked to have ever been paid from Richard Hart. I've talked to Richard, yes, of course. I've met him in real life. We didn't know each other before we started Hex. And guys, are the profits derived primarily from the work of others? If they were, then I wouldn't have started my channel. I started my YouTube channel because I couldn't rely on anybody else to pump my bags and keep the narrative alive. And so back in the early days when Hex was getting pretty heavy FUD, pretty much almost, I would say that in the early first 2 months of Hex, we were at equivalent levels of FUD that we are at today. And that's what actually drove me to get off my ass and go defend the Hex, something I believed in, right? Just cryptocurrency I believed in. Just like I could have started a Bitcoin channel. I decided to talk about Hex instead. And so the efforts aren't primarily derived from anybody else. I realized that. Oh crap, all these people are shit talking that I like. Let me get out there and say my perspective on the whole deal, because I am not relying on the efforts of others. I mean, that's why I'm sure you started your channel too. It's because, we couldn't just sit there and just let everybody say what they want about Hex without getting our narrative and our perspective out there. So I love what Brian's also done, because he extends these, he adds to them. And he said, if the expectation of profit primarily comes from participants who are unaffiliated with the issuance of the asset. And that's exactly what none of us were affiliated with the issuance of the asset. To be actually very honest, the asset was distributed by the smart contract. So there was technically, there was no human associated with the distribution of the asset. The adoption amplifier was coded into the smart contract. And a lot of work went into the smart contract to do it that way. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And look, I mean, I could even see like Pulse Dogecoin, right? It was just an airdrop that you could claim. So in a way, the code distributed Pulse Dogecoin to everybody too. There's a lot of coins that are distributed in a fair way that doesn't rely on another person or company, that just relies on the code. Having a claim button for your token is probably a decently good idea. If you're going to make a token, don't give it to somebody manually. If they want to get it, make them do something in order to claim it, and make the smart contract the distributor of the token. And that's what Brian's adding to this, because it's essential. It's essential to differentiate a central entity, a company distributing the coin and promising to do work for you to pump your bag, versus a smart contract distributing the coin. And then people can talk about the coin if they choose to, but those participants are just market participants and they're not affiliated with the issuance of the asset.
Or the
issuance. Yeah. So yeah, Brian is proposing that is sufficiently decentralized. He's basically taking the legs of the Howey test and just adding on to them some more specifics for cryptocurrency in general. which I like because the Howey test was made over 100 years ago. It is really outdated. And these seem like a very crypto friendly modification for this whole thing.
Yeah, beautifully said by Crypto Coffee. There you guys have it. So now that we know this, the next time you hear, oh, the SEC, it's like, you just refer to this, you go back to the book, you refer to the Bible, so to speak.
Yep. And again, if one of the legs is a little shaky, which it is, let's realize that, like furufinance said, you have to fail all four. It's not just one, it's all four.
And I think, by the way, let me just say that I think Bitcoin is already serves as a precedence that Hex fails the third, because if you want to say the third one, no, you have to. I made a mistake with the language. I think you have to pass all four. If you fail all four, you're not a security. It's so confusing. It's legal stuff. Yeah. But if you want to argue that Hex fails the third, I don't want to hear you saying Bitcoin is not a security, guys. You cannot disaggregate Hex from Bitcoin. It's very similar issue. It's very similar.
That's right. That's right. And so the more you can learn about this, the more you can realize that, yes, the SEC can investigate. They're totally entitled to that. The SEC can do their due diligence. Look, somebody probably complained to the SEC. Maybe it was that loser guy, Mike Alfred. Maybe it was Mike Alfred because his Bitcoin mining company went bankrupt. And, people project their own insecurities all the time. And so some of the loudest haters of Hex are also some of the biggest losers. Like, they actually got people wrecked.
Yep.
Some people that hate Hex are people that promoted Celsius. Like, I'm sure Mashinsky hates Richard Hart and probably has a personal vendetta against him. But guess what? Mashinsky's company failed and he lost people millions of dollars, and he's got to live with that. But people don't like to take responsibility for their fuck ups. They like to project them onto other people. So you can tell by who's hating the loudest, who's probably the biggest scumbag. You know what I mean?
Beautifully said.
What?
Beautifully said.
Yeah, thanks. And look, I don't know. I'm just making that up. It might not be Mike Alfred. Whoever launched this investigation, it could just be that sad little loser that lost half an ETH, and is crying about it. They have to do their due diligence. So the SEC is doing their job. I also want to differentiate that an investigation is not a case. The investigation is specifically targeting influencers in order to build a case. The point of an investigation is to collect evidence to then build a case. So they need to collect evidence first, which they obviously don't have. And they're not going to find any because they're barking up the wrong tree. They're not going to find any evidence of any of us being paid by Richard Hart. And that's specifically what they're looking for. They're looking for direct connections of, did Richard or did anybody centralized in Hex pay people to promote Hex? Because that is primarily related to the fourth leg, the expectation of profits derived from the work of others. And so we were not paid to shill Hex. We're basically glorified NFL fans, right? We're just crypto fans on our own teams, right? I'm promoting the team that I like the best. And that is totally within my freedom of speech. And so when you know the laws, you know your rights, and you understand that none of the influencers have ever been paid to promote Hex, as far as I know, you don't have to worry about it. And look, it's totally a non-issue. It's going to be a long, drawn-out nothing burger, and haters are going to use that as their primary exhibit A of why you shouldn't buy Hex. But if you're here listening, or if you want the other side of the story, this is the other side of the story, which is the truth, which is the fact that no one's breaking any rules. This whole thing is going to be a nothing burger. And again, the people that do buy the dips, that do have the long-term patience, I believe are going to be heavily rewarded for having the courage to stand by their conviction and understand what's real and what's made up imaginary fan fiction.
Yes. And beautifully said. I wanted to maybe add to that. It's like, that is the power. When Warren Buffett says, know what you hold, understand what you hold, do your research. I mean, this is a perfect example of that, in practical terms. For example, in the early days of Hex, the people that listen to the big channels and the people that listen to the Furus, so to speak, they did not buy. They did not get in on it because they are like, oh yeah, this guy, he's got 100,000. He says it's a scam. It's a scam. Richard Hart's a scam or whatever. But the people that really understood what they were buying, they really understood what code was. They were able to discern fact from fiction, truth from lies. They were rewarded greatly. And I think what we're seeing this play out over again. This is deja vu all over again, as Yogi Berra says.
Look, yeah, it's
people that see the SEC, like people that see, oh, SEC investigation, whatever, like they get screwed. People that see price depreciation, they get screwed. People that understand, oh, okay, what is the security? What are the 4 legs of the Howey test? Does Hex fail? Does Hex pass all 4 legs? Those kinds of things, these kinds of metrics, this kind of information is very powerful and could really, really help you.
It's very reminiscent of the early days of Hex, which is, it adds to the case of when I say, hey, we're doing this all over again, it's a second chance. I really feel like it is a second chance because the FUD was so strong in the early days of Hex because the same types of things were happening. Some random news source puts out literally fake news about Hex. And, upon first glance, you say, somebody that doesn't want to think below the surface, that doesn't want to do any thinking, the types of people that want others to think for them, they're going to get scared off because they're going to see SEC and a couple of buzzwords from a couple of Twitter guys with 50,000 followers or 100,000 followers. And they're going to just hand over their thinking, their ability to critically think, to somebody else. But if you have the ability to think for yourself and you can see what's going on here, you could actually see this as a pretty good opportunity. I see this as a huge opportunity.
Yeah.
And it's easy to say that, oh, if only you would have invested early, you would have been doing great. But a lot of you guys that maybe might have been watching right now, maybe you came here a year or 2 later after Hex was launched. If you were in those early days experiencing that FUD, ask yourself, would you have actually had the conviction to see behind the curtain and see the truth of what was going on? Because a lot of people, if you're not a good fit for Hex, then you're not a good fit. And that's okay. You don't have to be here. Like if you don't want to buy it, don't buy it. If you don't want to be involved, don't be involved. But if you understand the opportunity, that's why I'm excited. That's why I'm staked. And that's why I bought. That's all I can say is that people think it was easy in hindsight to just go and buy in the early days, but you have no idea how much animosity there was towards the entire Hex community in those early days, which, by the way, the community was maybe like 50 people in those early days, So, it quickly grew like wildfire, and now there's tens of thousands of us. But, it's almost easier now because at least you have a community that's got your back. Yeah. We've all got shared ideas and values. It's actually easier to have conviction today, in my opinion, than it was back when there was only a couple hundred people. In January of 2021, there were dark times. It was very, very hard. And I could see why, but it was very, very hard for somebody to convince themselves to actually look into Hex. Looking into Hex is probably going to lead you down a rabbit hole to, understanding the opportunity. Whereas surface level, reading tweets and reading headlines of articles is probably going to scare you away. And if you're scared away by headlines and tweets and you don't have the ability to think for yourself, I mean, if you're that kind of person, you're probably the same kind of person that believes everything CNN and Fox News are telling you. I mean, it's all lies. I mean, the mainstream media is all lies. It's the same with crypto as well. Everybody's getting paid off by a centralized company in one way or another. In my opinion, Hex holders are some of the more honest people in the space.
Well, except us, we're not being paid off by a centralized entity. So
exactly. I mean, that's what I'm saying. We're some of the only people that are not paid. Like I don't have sponsors. I don't have people telling me what to say. That's just my thoughts. That's all you get. Yeah. And
that's why it's important to support people like Crypto Coffee. And it's important to go to hexpassiveincome.com and become a patron. I'm going to link it in the description. I'm serious. No,
you're shilling harder than I've ever shilled. Thank you so much.
It's true though. It's like, do you want him to have to go and work at a corporation or something? Or do you want him or do you want him to start? I'm saying he would obviously, Crypto Coffee would not, take paid sponsorships. He would, he put on the McDonald hats before having to do that. But I'm saying when we have to earn money, guys. Okay. I'm saying this is hard work and it's important, but we need to live. So go to hexpassiveincome.com.
Well, same to you, man. Everybody go like and subscribe to furufinance and consider joining that YouTube membership.
Yes. It's for the price of a cup of coffee. That's my pitch.
There you go. There you go.
How ironic, we got Crypto Coffee on here. It's $3, $4, $5. Those are the 3 tiers. You get badges, you get priority in the comment section and the live chat. So,
nice.
Yeah, so that's that. I guess I wanted to show you something at the end of the article. But yeah, guys, rewatch this if you have to. Go to this article at cryptoglobe.com. These things are important. Having this knowledge is important. It helps educate you. It helps educate people that are on the ropes. It helps educate the SEC. I mean, I'm sure if the SEC people, they watch some of this content, this could really shed light. We welcome the SEC. This is a good thing. This is something that has to happen. You have to jump through these hoops in order to continue to achieve adoption. So this is a great thing. This is the second thing I want to bring up to you in the article, because we're talking about Michael Saylor. And Michael Saylor, I actually got a lot of clout for this on TikTok. He is the tragic figure of this past bull market.
Yes.
And I think we're about to see why. So on 6th of December 2022, while being interviewed by entrepreneur Patrick Bet-David for episode 212 of the PBD podcast, Michael Saylor, co-founder and executive chairman at business intelligence software company MicroStrategy Incorporated, was asked what he thinks about Ripple. So we're going to skip the Ripple part. But Patrick Bet-David then asked Saylor, if all altcoins are unregistered security, why is the SEC going after XRP and not ETH? Saylor said, I think the best thing for the world would be if the SEC pretty much shut down all of it. It's all unethical, right? I mean, the Bitcoin position would be Bitcoin is an ethical commodity. All the other altcoins are unregistered securities. They're all just equity tokens issued by a company in order to get around going public, and they're committed securities.
What a gross overgeneralization. So Michael Saylor is the kind of guy that he bought Bitcoin, and then the only way that he feels like he can defend his Bitcoin bag is to kill everything else that's not Bitcoin.
Oh yeah.
That is the pure definition of toxic maximalism. It's get rid of all the competition because I'm too insecure about my idea on its own. If he was secure enough about Bitcoin on his own, he would welcome competition, because Bitcoin would clearly shine in front of the competition, which it doesn't. And he knows this. And so he wants everything else to fail instead of, at the expense. It kind of reminds me of the marketing of some coins we're seeing out there today. They want Hex to fail so that their coin can succeed. It's like, that's not ideal marketing, right?
Yeah, beautifully said. And I think that's the problem with having an anonymous founder. When he leaves, the person with the biggest microphone, people that are CEOs that have a lot more of a reach and connections to television companies and things like that, they get to steal the narrative. And everything that Saylor and now even Max Keiser is about goes completely contrary to the principles of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, the principles espoused by Satoshi Nakamoto in the white paper. How ironic that people like Max Keiser, we got to get rid of the banks. Oh, it's a scam coin. Like those are the people that are going over to the SEC and begging for regulation, begging these central bank and centralized authorities that Bitcoin is supposed to, make obsolete. They are the biggest the biggest callers for what's it called, for regulation and for the shutdown of all other cryptocurrencies. Your thoughts on that, Crypto Coffee?
Well, you took the words out of my mouth. I mean, yeah, these guys are now sucking the very D that they were. Crypto was invented to get rid of. You know what I mean?
You either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain. I hope this doesn't happen to us.
Well, look, I can't speak for what Hex is going to be like in 10 years. I hope we never end up like this. God. But hey, you might get some. Maybe once we get our own Michael Saylor, that'll be when I sell my whole stack.
There is no second best. Hex is the apex. There is no second best. Second best.
Yeah, no, Max Keiser won't even let you say the word crypto because he's the high priest of crypto. It's embarrassing that these guys LARP around like they're literally like, Satoshi was a god and the white paper is like the Bible. You know what I mean? It's like the holy sacred texts for them, and it's peak cringe. And if you want to see peak cringe and what happens when a community degrades over time, watch the latest Vice video about the Bitcoin Miami conference. Vice News on YouTube did a really good coverage of basically everything wrong with crypto, which is the peak cringe from the Bitcoin Miami conference.
Yeah, well said. And I wanted to show you a thumbnail that I made. Could you see this? This is my thumbnail for oh no. Yeah, there we go. That's my thumbnail for this topic, actually.
That's good. Did that get a lot of views?
It didn't, guys. Go watch it and
Oh, come on,
give
guys.
it a thumbs
That's
up.
a golden thumbnail. That's a good title. You just gotta stay persistent, dude. That kind of stuff will get you know what you need is like a big arrow on there pointing to something.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you're missing.
Thanks. And I appreciate that. I know you may be squeezed for time. I wanted to discuss PulseChain and PulseX, but if you want, we could do it at a different time.
Let's talk about it. I got a couple minutes.
We got a couple minutes. Okay, thank you. And obviously, I know 1:30, so whenever
Yeah.
just.
Well, I've got another stream on my channel in about 45 minutes, but.
Oh, okay. So guys, make sure you tune into the stream. I'm sure that matters when I say that, when everyone hears you. But okay. So I guess the best way to open this up was Ethereum was, in my opinion, the story. It was the story. It was the success. It was a testament of success of the 2020 bull market. 2018 was a promise coin run. Ethereum delivered. Ethereum was the story of 2020, of the 2019, 2020, 2021 bull market. Ethereum has MakerDAO, Compound, Aave, Hex, all these projects on it, real world use case and things like that. So PulseChain, the world's largest airdrop, the system state fork of the Ethereum, of the story of the 2020 bull market. Will PulseChain be the story of the upcoming bull market? Crypto Coffee.
Yes, I really do believe that PulseChain and the launch of PulseChain is going to give everybody a second chance to admit they were wrong without admitting they were wrong. You know what I mean? A lot of the influencers that hated on Hex, that don't want to admit that maybe they even bought a little bit, maybe they even made some money on it. Once PulseChain comes out, it's going to give them the excuse to say, oh, well, you know, Hex is one thing, but I don't really like Hex, but I love PulseChain. I totally get it, you know, and they'll change their tune and it'll be an easy way. And that's fine. If they don't want to have the balls to apologize formally, they can take the cop out of, oh, I didn't like Hex, but I totally like PulseChain, and maybe Hex isn't so bad. And it's going to open the gates. I think PulseChain is really bringing the gates down because for some reason, people understand layer ones right now a lot more than they understand Bitcoin store value competitor. I mean, Hex didn't make sense to a lot of people, and I think a lot of people wrote it off as a get-rich scheme for Richard Hart, which when you realize how rich Richard already is, doesn't make any sense at all, especially when he tells you verbatim that he's trying to give back now at this late stage in his life, you know what I mean? Yeah. So in his career, I should say.
It's late for crypto. Like 43 is like.
Oh, he's a young dude. He's a young dude relatively, you know, but I meant just in his business experience, you know, he's already done the whole business thing, which he did business in his 20s and he got rich and retired by 25. I mean, how often does that happen? You know, that's kind of a rare case.
Yeah. And so, I call Hex a retirement community. We're going to become a retirement community.
I like that. Yeah, we're a retirement community, or you know, we're all a future retirement community.
Yeah, so. it's like in The Sopranos. I don't know if you saw that, but they called it a nursing home. He's like, it's not a nursing home. It's a retirement community. So Hex, we're a retirement community. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'd be happy to spend my last days with all you guys. It'd be a lot of fun. Can you imagine just having yacht parties? We're all geriatrics. No, but PulseChain will bring the gates down in terms of, you can already see it. CoinMarketCap is changing their tune. Binance, who owns CoinMarketCap, actually shouted out Richard Hart in their list of most influential people in crypto of 2022, because Richard was a write-in. He wasn't on the list, but he was so much of a write-in that they had to actually talk about him because he's like the most popular guy that nobody wants to talk about. He's the Andrew Tate of crypto. He's the Donald Trump of crypto, right? Everybody loves him or hates him, but whether or not you love him or hate him, you know who he is. You know exactly who he is. And some people can flip their tune using PulseChain as a convenient excuse. And I think that's what we're going to see. A lot of news articles might be written favorably for once about PulseChain. The skepticism might still be there, but it's going to be a lot harder to be a skeptic once you realize that this guy's serious. I mean, what kind of scammer puts in years and years of work into his products to make sure they're legit, complete, no bugs? What kind of scammer spends so much time and effort to scam his people and then never sells a single coin, right? Like, people say, oh, he's just going to dump Hex. The only person that never dumped Hex was Richard. Like everyone else sold, a lot of other whales sold. No, Richard never sold. Okay.
Yeah, that's. I'm sorry.
It's verifiable on chain, right? Like people want to make up these fan fictions, but you can go see the origin address coins. For the most part, they've never moved, and even if they have moved, they've never been sold. So yeah, Pulsechain. I mean, it's just going to bring the gates down. Long story short.
Yeah, beautifully said. And I think that's the misconception people don't realize is that they say, oh, yeah, the people that got in early, they're just going to dump on us. The whales, they're going to dump on us, all those things. But it's like stop putting them in your shoes because you're a pleb. You need a dump in order to get these things. These people are rich dudes. They don't have to work again. If you're a whale, you don't need the money. You're not thinking Lambo. You're not thinking Gucci jacket, unless you're outreach marketing. You're not thinking, vacations, yachts. You already have that. You're just in it to see your net worth go up. So you could climb the ranks. You can be the biggest, the big man on campus, when you go to a cocktail party. That's all it is at that point. Your needs are satisfied.
Yeah.
So the whales, in fact, are the people that are benevolent in general. But yeah,
for the most part. And if a whale is a silly whale, so to speak, then they'll just blow all their money anyway on hookers and blow and Lambos, and then they won't have any money left because they were never ready for the riches anyway. But if you're prepared for the wealth, and look, I'm not extremely wealthy, but Hex did well for me. And I can speak from experience when I say that after I've got everything I need, good car, nice roof over my head, I don't really want much else. I'm not a watch guy. I've never bought a Rolex, I mean, maybe I will one day, but I'm not interested in buying all these things because I've got a pretty high quality of life and I don't need to sell any Hex, at this point in time to fund my lifestyle. In fact, I could probably do with less, I could probably get rid of a lot of the stuff that I have and still be pretty happy. So yeah, I think everybody does have to have a little taste of that wealth, which I was lucky enough to get, to realize that it doesn't actually make you happy, right? It's not the wealth. Like money can buy certain pleasures in life, but they're all short-lived. And once you've experienced them, you're like, okay, well, now what? And when you say now what, you're like, well, I kind of just want to make other people feel good and provide value to other people. How do I do that? Okay, let's keep shilling Hex. Let's start a business. Let's be an entrepreneur. You don't see a lot of rich retired dudes that are just pure gluttons that are just buying, literally sitting on their yacht with hookers and blow all day. Yeah. I mean, yes, that's maybe 1 in 100, 1 in 1,000, but not often.
Those are the people that end up losing their money because, if you want to be rich, you have to get it. You have to have it together. I'm saying, like, you have to be focused. You have to be serious, or else you're going to lose. Those are the people emergency end staking. Those are the people that don't deserve to be holding the large pieces of the pie that a Hex whale should be holding. And that's what's great about this correction. But I guess with regard to Pulsechain and PulseX, do you have a way that you are approaching the launch, or a way that you are telling people not to approach the launch, like what to do, what not to do? Any pointers?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's a good point. Yeah, it's about being rich and staying rich, right? Not just blowing it all. So Pulsechain strategy early on, if you don't already have it, there's one of two things you could really do. What I really would like people to do, and I can't control what you do, it's totally up to you. I'm just a guy on YouTube.
Do your own research.
Yeah, I'm just a guy, but I would not if you can't understand ratio trading in the first 48 hours and you don't understand how to calculate, the relative prices of things using 0.0001 as a reference price for PulseX and Pulsechain, and using the price of Hex pre-fork as a reference price for Hex, that's what I would use to calculate a good deal on the pre-bridge swapping strategy. But if that doesn't make sense to you, I would just go ahead and buy the dip, save up dollars, US dollars, to scale in and buy the dip a month or two after launch, because I am 90% sure that there's going to be a dip after launch, as there is with every new coin, because regardless of what coin you're in, short-term thinkers are going to take profit in the early days. It happened with Hex, happened with Ethereum. You can look at any new coin launch that had some kind of ICO or distribution phase where people got in early and just wanted to get out. There's always a dip. There's always a dip in the first 30 to maybe 90 days. So be calm, be patient, wait 30 to 90 days. and then dollar cost average after you see the price dip on PulseChain and PulseX, because guess what, guys? PulseChain isn't going to launch and then just go straight up and to the right forever.
What?
I hate to break it. I know.
No.
I know. Sorry, furufinance. I'm sorry. I'm but no, I think a lot of people might need to hear that too, because you don't want to have these wild expectations. You have to realize that every coin behaves the same way to a degree. Now, we're lucky that PulseChain isn't full of venture capitalists, which are essentially perma dumpers. It's just community members and retail. So it's going to wash out all the weak-handed retail. You know, it might be 10 or 20% of whoever got in the PulseChain sacrifice that just wants to get out. Let them get out and then buy the dip. That's the safe strategy. But if you're going to do ratio trading, I really think that limit order button is your friend. I think you're going to want to hit that limit order button, and you're going to want to set a really nice and safe and low limit order. For example, 1 hex per 2,000 pulse. You know, just rough. You're going to have to recalculate by the time, you know, PulseChain comes out. You're going to have to look at the price of hex at that time, and you're going to have to look at, you know, again, the reference price of PulseChain and PulseX, which again is 0.0001 US dollars. And I'm calculating that because there were 10,000 sacrifice points given for every $1. So 1 divided by 10,000 is 0.0001. And then set a really safe limit order, because some noob, you might be lucky enough that some noob will fat finger it or have no idea what he's doing and market dump and giant wick into your limit order. And you might be lucky enough to scoop up some really, really low priced PulseChain using your copied hex token. That might be the strategy if you do it safely. But if you can't do it safely, please don't lose all your money.
Yeah. And I guess one question, and then I have a closeout question. And obviously, I really appreciate you being so generous with your time. And guys, please follow at CryptoCoffee369 on Twitter if you haven't, and subscribe to Crypto Coffee, the biggest YouTube channel, the biggest exclusive Hex Richard Hart ecosystem YouTube channel. Excellent content. And then you're going to go to hexpassiveincome.com, hexpassiveincome.com, your one-stop shop for all things all the tools that you need as a beginner to really dive in. I think you don't want to spend a lot of time sifting through all these 4-hour live streams, and I don't think you want to spend a lot of time making mistakes and screwing up. I've lost thousands of dollars in a matter of clicks.
Yep.
Money's gone. I
think
it
the
is
course could
important
save you months of time and thousands of dollars in mistakes.
Yeah. And it supports us. It supports Crypto Coffee, and Crypto Coffee supports me, because a lot of the stuff that I say because of Crypto Coffee. So please go consider that, especially if you're a beginner. And my question is, do you think can you see Pulse or PulseX going below sacrifice after launch?
I think it's more likely for PulseX, just because it was a larger and longer sacrifice. Yeah. But look, it depends on the bonuses too. Some people got in at these bonus prices, which makes the price even lower than 0.0001. So some people got in at prices of like 0.00005. You know, that's pretty damn good. Now, I don't know if the price is ever going to touch that low, but I could see a temporary dip below sacrifice prices for PulseX more so. And then maybe it's possible PulseChain, but look, we might not. When I say a dip, I'm talking about a dip from the very first sale price, the very first ticker on the chart, not necessarily a dip from the sacrifice price, which is going to be much lower.
Yeah. Okay. That's why I just DCA. I don't really, because like there's sometimes where it runs up and like you're waiting for that correction, and that correction could be way, way higher, or like it's just.
And then maybe you buy at that high because you're waiting for the correction and it's not happening. And then you buy, and then it dips right back down to where you wanted the whole time. You know, the market has a funny way of washing the maximum number of people out.
True. And we see that playing out in real time. And speaking of that, to close it out, this is not your first rodeo, so to speak. You've been in crypto for a very long time, and you've been in Hex from the beginning. People are hurting. People are feeling that tendency, that urge to go out and FUD people's bags, to go out there and, create fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and find explanations as to why the price is dipping. What is in your opinion, what would you tell those people?
Look, educate yourself, form your own opinions, and stand behind them. Thanks for having me on Furu Finance. I really appreciate it. I do got to get going, but I really appreciate you having the cojones to stand behind your bags, defend your bags, and get out there and spread the word, because it's not necessarily easy, but it's needed. And I appreciate people like yourself doing what you do. We're all in this together. We're all in this ride together. So hopefully in a couple of years, I'll see you guys on the moon, and it'll be glorious.
Yes, we'll be glorious. And thank you so much again. I just want to reiterate my thanks for you coming on. I hope we can do this again. You've brought a large crowd here, and hopefully you guys, if you're new, remember hexpassiveincome.com. Great tool to save yourself from yourself and support the community, support Crypto Coffee. Subscribe to Crypto Coffee's YouTube channel. Follow at Crypto Coffee 369 on Twitter, and follow Crypto Coffee on TikTok. I do want people, and follow Furu Finance on TikTok. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. But I think it's important to get out there on TikTok. There's a lot of people to save. And Crypto Coffee, thank you so much for all your time. Until next time, guys.
Cool. See ya.